Hey, what's up? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to promote your church on Facebook, part 1, coming up. Hey, what's up? My name is Chris Abbott, and I've helped thousands of churches use Facebook to promote their church and attract new visitors. And in this first video, we're going to show you everything you need to do in order to accelerate your results and create a hook that's going to connect with people in your community. And then in part 2, we'll break down the social media strategy you need to use in order to get the word out. So I've got 4 tips for you on how to accelerate your results. And I'm telling you, most churches skip these steps and they go straight to the promo part. And that's why so many Facebook ads or promotions or digital campaigns fail whenever you try them. It's because you didn't take time, these 4 things. So let's break this down, and we'll even introduce you to a church that used this exact strategy to get 163 new visitors to a single service. So let's dive in. All right, number 1, what is it that you want to promote? Now, this might sound really basic, but this is important to answer, right? Are you trying to promote a new sermon series? Are you trying to promote an outreach event or a church event or a marriage conference? Or maybe you're just trying to get someone to plan a visit to church this Sunday. All right, so figure it out. In fact, we worked with a church here a couple of years ago that did this for a healing service. So once a year, they have a giant service and they just pray for people who are sick or dealing with mental illness, right? And just pray for healing. And so what they did was they said, hey, we want to promote the healed service and we want to get as many people as possible to sign up for Plan Your Visit and show up to the service. Right? Plan Your Visit is just a simple way to have people actually sign up and basically schedule an appointment to come out to church on Sunday. So an important thing to remember is that if you say more than one thing, you say nothing at all. So you don't want to try to promote multiple things. You can only promote one, right? So for example, this church, they wanted to promote one service, and that was their healing service. So once you've identified the one thing that you're going to promote, then move on to step 2. All right, step 2, what is the action that you want them to take? Maybe you want them to sign up for Plan Your Visit. Maybe you want them to register for a conference. Maybe you want them to reserve a ticket, or maybe you simply want them to show up on Sunday. But you need to decide ahead of time, once you figure out what you're promoting, what's the call to action that you're trying to get people to take? All right, so before I get to my last 2 points, I want to find out from you, what brought you to this video? Are you trying to promote a service or an upcoming sermon series? Let me know in the comments below because I want to hear from you. Okay, number 3, what problem is this going to solve for the people in your city? Again, most people don't take time to actually think about this, but you want to figure out. So maybe if you have a brand new marriage series or a marriage conference, maybe you're going to show them how to have a brand new marriage. Or maybe you're going to show them how to discover their purpose and finally find their life calling. Or maybe you're just going to simply answer a big question about God, right? So you might say, hey, if God made the world, then who made God? Have you ever wondered about that? Well, come out this Sunday because we're going to answer the question you've always wanted to know. So what is it you're promoting? What's the call to action you want to take? And then what's the problem that you're solving for people? Okay, and finally, number 4, create a hook. Now, when it comes to the marketing side of things, this is the most important part of the actual promotion. You want to create a hook based on the problem you're going to solve. So in step number 3, we figured out what is the question we're going to answer, what's the problem we're going to solve. And then in step 4, we want to build a hook point around that problem. Back when I was in youth ministry, we used to do a series every single fall that I called Brainwashed, right? So the idea was teenagers have all of these questions about God, and unlike adults, they're not afraid to ask them. So let's just talk about those questions head on. And so every single year in October, we would have a Brainwash series. And so the hook was simply brainwashed. Does God really exist, or are we all just brainwashed? And I would literally create invite cards and 4x6 postcards, and I would hand them out at school lunches, and I would give them to kids on Wednesday nights. And I didn't have to tell them to go tell their friends. It was such an interesting hook point that they would invite all of their friends, and we would have hundreds of kids who would show up every single Wednesday for a 6-week sermon series on Brainwashed. Does God really exist, or are we all just brainwashed? And some of the harder questions about life like that, and we would tackle a different question every single week. It was one of the most highly attended series of our entire year, and the biggest reason was because the hook point was that we were answering questions that kids were actually asking. So you want to figure out the problem that you're going to be solving or the question you're going to be answering, and then you want to build a hook point around that. Your hook might just be a snippet or a one-liner from the actual problem that you're going to solve. So you might say something like, do you need a new marriage? Or are you trying to find your life purpose and discover your calling? So you might say something like, do you need a new marriage? Well, come out to church this Sunday as Pastor John unpacks the biggest problems in marriage so you can hit the reset button on your relationship and have a brand new marriage. We'll see you Sunday. Or maybe you say, hey, are you trying to find your calling or discover your purpose? Well, come out to church this Sunday as Pastor John outlines a framework for how to discover your purpose and live life completely fulfilled. We'll see you Sunday. Or you might do something like we did from the Brainwash series and just say, hey, have you ever wondered why bad things happen to good people? Well, come out this Sunday as Pastor John answers the question you've always wanted to know but never had the guts to ask. We'll see you Sunday. Okay, so again, these 4 steps are critical to being able to launch a promotional campaign that's going to bring in a ton of new visitors. And most people skip them all together and they go straight to the ad part. So if you just sit down and actually take the time to figure out what is it that we're promoting, what is the action that we want them to take, what's the problem that we're solving, and then what's the hook point that's going to bring people in based on that problem. Then you're going to be set up to create a successful campaign that's going to bring in a ton of new faces on Sunday morning. Okay, so now that you got those 4 things on lockdown and you're ready to roll, let's take things into Facebook and let's talk about how to use everything that we did in part 1. And we'll talk about how to let every single person in your city know all about it on Facebook in part 2. Click on the link in the description below and we'll take you right there.